In 2026, the median home prices in Colorado Springs is sitting at $450,000. Most of you getting PCS orders here, your BAH just doesn't come close to covering that mortgage payment. But there is a specific combination of VA loan strategy and negotiation tactics that you can use to get into a home with zero money out of pocket. And I'm going to break down exactly how to make your BAH work for you, rank by rank. So let's get into it. First, let's take a look at how the numbers are actually going to work. We're going to start with my E5s with dependents as kind of our starting point here. Now, I am just going to be totally realistic here. You should be making around $800K a year to just comfortably be able to afford a home here in Colorado Springs. So that's kind of why I'm starting with an E5 level. But if you're like an E3 or an E4 and you're watching this, please feel free to reach out to me. We can always just have like a one-on-one discussion to see where you might fall in this scenario. But for those E5s, your 2026 BAH is gonna be sitting at about $2,358 a month. Now, when you combine that with your base pay and your BAH, you're like roughly hitting that like 80K threshold that makes buying realistic in Colorado Springs. But we need to have like a quick heart-to-heart on expectations here. If you're an E5 moving here and you've got your heart set on one of those like shiny, brand new construction homes with all those amazing upgrades, you are likely going to be looking way outside of your means. To make the math actually work for your rank, you just have to be realistic. So anyone who's moving here might not be getting that Pinterest ready, like perfect build from day one. But you will be getting like a solid investment that's just gonna help you build your net worth. So I know that was a harsh reality check, but just to put it into perspective though, although the median home prices here in the Springs is sitting at about $450,000, you can actually get into a really decent home here ranging from anywhere from $335 up to like $420. And that's gonna be well within most military members' BAH range. And that range is just gonna give you a really solid selection of inventory. But I will help you target which areas I think will fit your BAH budget later on in this video, so make sure you stick around. But before we get into the neighborhoods, I need to show you exactly what that $2,300 is actually going to look like stacked against a real monthly mortgage payment on a medium-priced home here in Colorado Springs. Because the spread between what your BAH actually covers and what you'll actually owe every month might really catch you off guard. So let's dig deep into how these numbers actually break down when you look at a real-world mortgage payment. We're going to use that $450K just to kind of break it down and show you exactly what a medium priced home here in the Springs is gonna look like. So for my E5s, I know we talked earlier about that $340K price range, but just kind of stick with me here because you need to see what that gap is going to look like if you decide to push to that medium price point. So if you are buying at $450K here in Colorado Springs with a VA loan at 0% down, with an interest rate of like 5.9%, because that's currently what it's looking like right now, you're going to be spending $2,670. But that's not it. You also have to include taxes and insurance. And in Colorado Springs, you really need to budget anywhere around $115 for property taxes, and honestly, another like $300 for insurance, because those rates have definitely been climbing over the years. So that's going to bring your total payments to about $3,060. Now let's look at the spread. For my E5s with a $2,358 BAH, you're looking at a gap of about $700 a month. For my E7s with a $2,487 BAH, your gap is about $570. My O3s with a $2,595 BAH, you're looking at a gap of roughly $465. So why am I telling you this? Well, that's because I just don't want you to get to the closing table and realize your BAH doesn't cover your whole bill. But something to keep in mind is that each year, BAH does tend to go up each year. So this will help you bridge that gap so you can actually build equity in your home instead of just handing all your money to the landlord. So that medium home price gap is real, and it's just not going anywhere, guys. But the VA loan kind of changes that math in 3 specific ways I really want my military buyers to understand. So this next section is where you can start making those benefits really work for you. So there are 3 specific reasons why the VA loan is almost always the better move for military members here in the spring. So first is going to be the interest rate gap. Because the government backs these loans, lenders can offer lower rates. Right now, we're seeing VA rates around 5.8% to 6.1%, while the standard conventional loan is sitting much higher at about 6.7%. So to put it into perspective, on a $450,000 house, that lower rate is going to save you about $250 a month in interest. Now, second, we have the death of the PMI. This is really a big one. So for example, if a civilian buys a home without putting 20% down, they have to pay private mortgage insurance. That's an extra $150 to $200 every month that just doesn't go towards their house. It's going to go towards the insurance company. So with a VA loan, you have 0 monthly private mortgage insurance, no matter how low your down payment is. And finally, this one actually only applies to my veteran members, but if you have a percentage of VA disability, so even just 10%, that VA funding fee is completely waived. So that's going to save you roughly $10,000 to $15,000 in upfront costs that first-time buyers and 0 down payment buyers would normally have to roll into their loan. So when you add these up, the VA loan isn't just easier to get, it literally is designed to lower your monthly payment and your monthly overhead. It takes that $3,000 monthly payment, and we looked at earlier, makes it significantly more manageable than any other loan product out there. So the VA loan is going to get you to the closing table, but how you negotiate before you get there is going to determine whether you walk away paying closing costs or walk away paying nothing. In this 2026 market, there is one specific tactic that can wipe all of your out-of-pocket expenses completely. And right now in the Colorado Springs market, we're seeing homes sit on the market much longer than usual. We're talking an average of 50 days plus. That is a huge opportunity for buyers. When a house has been sitting that long, the seller is usually much more willing to talk. Now, of course, you can always ask for a lower price, and that is a strategy. But I also want buyers to consider other things, like seller concessions. I am talking about having the seller pay towards your closing costs, or just giving you a credit to buy down your interest rates. This is one of the biggest negotiation tactics I want you to think about. If you can get the seller to assist with a rate buy down, that's going to significantly decrease your monthly mortgage payments and just bring them a lot closer to your VH. On top of that, the VA allows the seller to pay up to 4% of the home's value towards your closing costs. If you can get a seller to cover those costs, you can walk into the home with 0 cash out of pocket. That keeps your savings account intact when you eventually need to move to your next duty station. All right, if you've made it this far, this is the part I mentioned earlier in the video, the neighborhood breakdown by rank. This is the exact same map I walk my actual clients through before we ever set foot in a single house. But quick foot stomp here, guys. I always recommend talking with a lender before focusing your search. They can give you the exact number you will be working with. However, these are the spots I target based off of a 0 down payment VA loan at the current interest rates. For my E5 tiers, we're looking at homes below $360K. At this price point, single family homes are going to be on the older side and might feel a little bit more worn. You can definitely find something newer, but you'll probably be looking at like townhomes to get more of that like modern feel. So the areas I would focus on, we have Fountain and Falcon. These are areas you want to focus on if you want like a small town vibe and don't mind just being outside of the city. These are going to be really solid choices for that price range. Next, we have Security Whitefield. This is my top recommendation for just stretching your budget. You get the most bang for your buck here, I promise. Then we have Briargate. If your heart is just set on School District 20 or just being somewhere up north, you just have to be strategic. To keep your mortgage within BAH, you're probably looking at like a townhome in this area. Now, for my senior non-commissioned officers and my junior officers, your BAH is going to be sitting between $2,400 up to $2,600. While that sounds like a big jump from our E5s, your comfort zone is really going to be sitting about $375,000 to $385,000. This budget finally unlocks areas like farther north without forcing you to look at townhomes. First, we have Banning Lewis Ranch. You can find some really nice new builds here in an extremely popular master plan community, but I would caution against like HOAs and metro taxes in this area. They can really eat up your BAH very quickly. Then we have Cottonwood. This is kind of like a hidden gem. It's more centrally located and it gives you really easy access to most of the city. Finally, we have Stetson Hills. This is an area if you want to be right off of the Powers corridor for like shopping and convenience. This area offers a lot of great homes in your price bracket. And finally, for my O4s and higher, your BAH allows you to unlock access to almost the entire city, starting at that $415 break-even price point. Two areas that I tend to target are Northgate and Briargate. If you're just looking for like newer builds in like top tier school districts, these are going to be primary spots to target for military members. However, the reality check is that keep in mind that once you get up north, prices can jump very quickly. I'm talking over $600K. So while your BAH is higher, that $600K home is going to put you well over $1,000 out of pocket every month. So you just have to keep in mind that monthly math to make sure it aligns with your long-term goals. Now, at the end of the day, guys, Colorado Springs has a neighborhood for every rank. You just have to be realistic with your expectations of what your BAH can actually cover and just know how to make that VA loan work in your favor. I hope this information made your decision a little bit easier and just gave you the peace of mind before moving here. If you're choosing to buy here in Colorado Springs, you can definitely make it work. There is a spot here for everyone, regardless of your rank. As long as you shop within your price range, target the right neighborhoods, and just use those negotiation tactics we talked about earlier to just kind of bridge that gap. Now, if you're a military member PCSing here, and you need just a little bit of extra assistance or just want some help developing a specific game plan for you and your family, please feel free to reach out. I specialize in helping military members move to Colorado Springs every single day, and I would just love to help you too. Now I know some of you might still kind of be on the fence about whether you should be renting or buying in your specific situation. And if that's you, be sure to just check out this video right here. It's gonna break down that exact debate and hopefully it'll just get you heading in the right direction. And if you found this video helpful, please just give it a thumbs up and make sure to subscribe for more content designed to help my fellow military members make a smooth transition to Colorado Springs. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.